It's about time. Toyota is officially bringing battery electric vehicles to the United States and likely the entire world. Heading over to Toyota's American press room, not the global, not the European, but the American one for once. Toyota to debut 3 new electrified vehicles for the United States market. And I know there have been hundreds, if not thousands of people on my channel over the last 2 years just been asking for electrified Toyota or Lexus products here in America. Well, your prayers have been answered slightly. And let's get into the juicy details. Portfolio will add 2 battery electric vehicles and a plug-in hybrid. Today, of course, we'll detail that, but let's keep reading. Internal research shows BEV or battery electric vehicles and PHEV or plug-in hybrid electric vehicles models have similar environmental benefits or detractions. Let's be real, no vehicle is good for the environment. They're not growing plants or making the waters cleaner. I guarantee you that. The majority of this article, guys, is Toyota talking about how important it is for them to draw back on carbon emissions over the coming years, and how battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids are really on a similar playing field when it comes to carbon emissions. You guys are welcome to read this. I'll put this in the description below, but to me, it was pretty boring. And so we're going to focus on what these vehicles are and how Toyota and Lexus can implement them into their lineups. We're heading over to automotive news. TMNA now says it will introduce 2 battery electric vehicles and another plug-in hybrid in 2021. So introduce just means, hey, here's the model. This is what you can expect it to be. Here are the specs, maybe pricing, but I doubt the pricing. And this is the window where it's going to be available. That's what we're going to get to this year in 3 vehicles. Now, reading further, the vehicles are expected to go on sale in the US in 2022, said the automaker Wednesday. That could also include the plug-in hybrid that they're talking about. One of the EVs will be for the Toyota brand. One will be a crossover or /SUV, and they will be imported at least initially from Japan, said Bob Carter, who is head of sales for Toyota Motor North America. And dealers themselves have told Automotive News that a battery electric vehicle is coming to the Lexus brand as well. So how I see this is the battery electric vehicles, 2 of them, right? I see one for Toyota, one for Lexus. Those will both be available in 2022. The plug-in hybrid to me could be available this year, but more than likely that will be available in 2022 as well. All 3 of them will be announced this year. What will those vehicles be? That's a big question. If you made it this far in the video, that's what we're going to dive into right now. In June 2019, Toyota came out with 6 electrified concepts that they think that they could definitely make in the near future. Here are the 6. We have 2 vans. Neither of those are going to be the electric vehicles that they're bringing here to America. And why do I say bringing? Because they're going to be imported at least initially. This one here, that is a possibility on the Lexus end, but we're going to focus on Toyota first. And obviously, America is not a big saloon or wagon market. It's just rare. I saw a Buick wagon, one of the newer ones on the street the other day. I'm like, what the heck is that? I thought it was super cool. But yeah, America's not going to be getting an electrified wagon. That's solely for Europe, maybe Asia. And then over here is a compact crossover, which is a possibility as well. It reminds me a lot of the CHR or the Lexus UX. This is a vehicle right here that I fully expect to be the first Toyota electrified vehicle to make it to the United States. The body lines are nearly identical to the Subaru Evoltus, which is based off the same E-TNGA platform, which all fully battery electric Toyotas and Subarus in the future will be based on. And I would expect this would be the very first vehicle. They say it's Rav4 sized, which totally makes sense. Why? Because the Rav4 sells hundreds of thousands of vehicles, over 400,000 vehicles a year. It's the best vehicle, best-selling vehicle, I believe, in the entire United States of America, maybe even North America. So, of course, they want to have a battery electric vehicle that is that size. You don't need to reinvent the wheel there. I'm like 95% sure that this vehicle right here is going to be the first battery electric Toyota to come to the United States. All right, so we have 2 more. Well, one's fully battery electric, and I'm assuming it's going to be a Lexus. However, I'm not 100% sure it's going to be based off this E-TNGA platform. It could be something similar to this, which looks like a 3-row crossover to me. But we're going to switch over to my spreadsheet here, one of many, as you guys know. And I have a feeling that the first fully electric Lexus that's going to be here in America is not going to be based off the fully electric, battery electric platform. It's going to be a modification of an existing platform, the E-TNGA platform. And we're getting a redesigned Lexus RX. The RX is their bread and butter. It's their best-selling vehicle. In my opinion, what better way to bring an electrified vehicle into the Lexus lineup than through the RX? If you guys remember back in 2006, Lexus brought the first ever luxury hybrid, the RX 400h, into the market. Now I think it's their turn to bring in the first ever fully electric Lexus RX into the luxury market and compete with the likes of the Audi e-tron and some of the Teslas out there. Yeah, I mean, the Ford Mach-E, they're not really luxury, but they're nice and they're expensive, so throw them in the bucket as well. And the Nissan Ariya. I could keep going, but let's focus on the spreadsheet and see what we have. What are we working with right here, right now? There is a battery electric vehicle worldwide for Lexus, and that's called the UX300E. It's front wheel drive only, and it shares a lot with the, I think it's the Izoa as well as the CHR fully electric vehicles. They're all sold in China. You also have this UX300E in parts of Asia, Japan of course, but it's very, very hard to get. It's almost a unicorn finding a UX300E over there, but it's very modest, guys. 201 horsepower, and it only gets you 166 to 186 miles of range depending on your market that you live in. Now, this RAV4 sized EV, I'm taking a stab at it. We have some guaranteed motors that Toyota's been working with through Aishin and I believe Denso. They're both companies that are essentially owned by Toyota, but they have formed a company called Blue Nexus, who's making not only hybrid electric powertrains slash motors to hook up to a gasoline engine, but they're also producing fully electric motors for future not only hybrids, but battery electric vehicles. And I put them all right here in the spreadsheet. You can see all the motors up top that Blue Nexus has pretty much given to us. Maybe not these motors quite yet, but I believe they exist. They should exist, in my opinion, if they want to compete on the high performance battery electric end of things. But here we are. We're going to mix and match these. We know what the UX300E is. The RAV4 sized vehicle, fully battery electric, 308 horsepower is what I'm expecting. And I do expect eventually a fully battery electric vehicle based on the same platform to come to Lexus called the RZ350E. But I have a feeling that the RX, and I could be wrong on this, guys, take it with a grain of salt. I have a feeling that the RX 500E, which was teased in some shape or form, some sort of SUV was teased this past December, so 2 months ago, in the Direct 4 unveiling with the camouflaged crossover that we don't really know what it was. It was boxy. It was a departure from the Lexus RX. It was almost like a Lexus GX mixed with a RX. It was kind of a different design vehicle than what we're used to seeing. But they did give us power numbers for it, and it would use 2 of the 201 horsepower motors, which gets us 402 horsepower and 441 pound-feet of torque. Those aren't groundbreaking numbers, but that's going to be faster than any RX that came before it. And range, I'm not quite sure. It depends on what size of battery, but anywhere from 280 to 316 miles of range would be my guess. And that leaves us one more vehicle. So we have 2 of the battery electric spoken for. One is pretty much a Subaru e-Voltus, but in Toyota, guys, coming in 2022. The next one is a Lexus RX 500E. That's my guess. Both of them are my guesses, but I think there's a good chance both of them can happen. Last, I think, is the easiest one to call out. It's again going to be a Lexus, and it's going to be the upcoming redesigned Lexus NX 450h Plus that has been trademarked in many, many markets. And of course, we'll take a stab on how it's powered. So going over to the next sheet in my spreadsheet on EV capacities and power, not only is the NX 450h Plus trademark, but so is the NX 350h as well as the NX 250. And yeah, we got lots of options coming for the NX, but we're going to focus on the plug-in hybrid. Lexus could be boring and somewhat predictable. They could just rebadge the RAV4 Prime's powertrain with 301 or 2 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, 40 miles of plug-in electric range, and call it a day. After having teased the Direct 4 setup, it would be a missed opportunity to take advantage of what they've been working on. And what they've been working on compared to the RAV4 Prime, which is very front wheel drive driven, the proportion of the power is very front wheel heavy, I should say. The flip side has been happening with Lexus based off the Direct 4. So looking at the RAV4 Prime, that's going to be our basis, and it's going to evolve from here. 175 horsepower with 163 pound-feet of torque. That's just from the inline-4 2.5 liter gasoline engine. Then we get a front motor tied to it with 179 horsepower and almost 200 pound-feet of torque. To get all-wheel drive, we need an electric motor in the back to power the rear wheels. Just a mild 54 horsepower and 89 pound-feet of torque. That's actually the exact same power that we see in the RAV4 hybrid. Not the plug-in hybrid, but the normal RAV4 hybrid. So all that extra power is actually going to the front wheels compared to the normal RAV4. And that gets us a combined 302 horsepower and roughly 334 pound-feet of torque. It has an 18.1 kilowatt hour battery, and I'm assuming they're going to use the same 18.1 kilowatt hour battery. We're going to go to the Lexus end of things, and here's my theory on how they're going to make a 450h plus, whether it's an RX 450h plus, NX, which is going to be coming probably in early 2022, hopefully earlier, because the NX will be out September, October as the redesigned model. So hopefully they can make it come in the calendar year of 2021. And it could also be an ES 450h plus. You guys can use your imagination there, but this is for traditional front wheel drive platforms. You take the same 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine and you change the motors around a little bit. So based off the teasing we got from Lexus and the Direct 4, we get a lot more torque out of this setup, especially on the front and rear motors. And we get roughly 287 horsepower based on what they showed us. It could be more in the production version, and a whopping 430 pound-feet of torque, which is 100 pound-feet of torque more than the RAV4 Prime. And a lot of that torque, 177 pound-feet versus 89 pound-feet, goes to the rear wheels, and an extra 60 horsepower or so going to the rear wheels. That is a huge difference in how the vehicle drives, and the performance is going to be noticeable as well. And guys, there's other articles I wanted to touch on, such as Toyota making the 30th million vehicle here stateside, and as well as some battery electric news with SK Innovation losing their battery trade case to LG Chem. That shakes things up crazily, which I'm not going to go into today. Most of you probably don't care, but it does shake up the automotive industry here stateside, at least when it comes to battery electric vehicles. And guys, I'm going to end it there. 3 electrified vehicles coming for Toyota and Lexus. Mainly Lexus, how I see it. Now, Toyota's very vague on it. Again, one for the Toyota end, one for the Lexus end, and then a plug-in hybrid, I believe, for the Lexus end as well, in the form of the NX 450h plus. And guys, I'll leave it there. What do you think of my speculations? I'm feeling pretty good about it, but I'd be happy to be wrong because it means there's more exciting things out there, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And guys, I'll leave it there. If you made this from the video, have not smashed the like button, go and do that. That helps my channel out so much. And thank you so much for supporting me as we get to 100,000 subscribers and beyond. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, this is my second video made today because this news hit me. It's late at night. I usually make my videos early in the morning. It's almost 7 o'clock at night. And yeah, I'm still amped. I'm jazzed about it. I'm excited about it. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves and peace out.